Hey everybody, welcome back to my Let's Play of Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. My name is Rob, and today, we excited. Finally gonna finish up No Man's Wharf, and move on. So without further ado, gonna press forward with this little post-commentary here. Of course, you know I gotta light up the torch to light all the other torches around No Man's Wharf because I can't help myself. I swear it's from playing Zelda, like Link to the Past, Ocarina of Time, and all that. Back in the day where lighting up torches usually got you something. We got ninjas. We got dead ninjas now. They're no match for my mighty club of justice. Justice and friendship and destiny and all that good stuff. So moving on, I'm going to continue to light up the torches as many as I can because, of course, if I would have had a Pharaoh's Lockstone in my inventory, the whole area could have been illuminated by now. But didn't have it, so I'm just lighting up little torches at a time, or a few torches at a time, rather, so that if I need to retreat from these enemies, I can. Which, you know, as long as you're holding a torch and they're kind of cowering back, they're not that bad. They can just damage you really quickly if they get aggressive, and that bleed infliction they do on you, and the way it cripples your stamina in Dark Souls 2. It's something you kind of want to avoid. Of course, taking them out at range is always ideal. Decided to test out the throwing knives on them. They're not doing quite as much damage as the wooden crossbow bolts. And I barely upgraded the crossbow at all at this point, if I even upgraded it once. Can't remember if I did or not. So I'm very close to the biggest and main shortcut to the whole area. Trying to be very careful, don't want to mess this up, because I'm remembering on my first playthrough of the... Well, it wasn't actually a playthrough. The first time I played Scholar of the First Sin and got to this area, I got to this part here where I was really close to this main shortcut. And just as I was about to activate it, I got invaded. And of course, the invader killed me, so I had to do the whole area all over again. And with just a quick check to make sure I'm not forgetting anything, which I was, head back into this little building here. There's not a lot to it. It's a couple of sleeping Vikings and a lot of pots that are full of poison. So in this room you want to try to avoid hitting those if you can, so that you won't get poison inflicted on you, because poison in Dark Souls 2, as I'm sure I've stated previously, I can't remember, it's way worse than it was in Dark Souls 1. It's like toxic on steroids, so you have to watch out for that. But if you have any throwing knives, or if you have iron ammunition, be it iron bolts or iron arrows, you can safely break them from a distance, don't have to worry about it. Just got some throwing knives and a flame butterfly, always useful. And in here, we're going to wreck that shelf, first of all. But as far as I can remember, this is the only wall in the game that you break by hitting it. I don't think any other walls do that. I think they're all just that type where you have to press the action button to get them to open. But I could be wrong about that. Interesting little room here. You see there's two skeletons kind of sitting across from each other, and it's almost like they were sealed in here with this treasure. Kind of sitting across from each other, and they eventually just died and wasted away and rotted. So, the treasure in here is the Royal Soldier's Ring, which kind of functions like Havel's Ring in that it gives you more equip burden. Don't necessarily need it at the moment since I'm staying fairly light and rolling into the poison pots like a doofus. But a nice ring to have all the same. A fragrant branch of yore, always useful, especially in Scholar of the First Sin with all the statues that you run into in this game. Can't really have too many of them. So that's pretty much it. I've gotten everything for this area. All the major stuff anyway. All that's left is talking to one NPC, activating the shortcut, and heading for the boss. So, I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Well, for one thing, there's a torch not lit. And that's just making my skin crawl at the moment. But anyway, there's the shortcut right in front of me, and there's a Viking sneaking up. But, yeah. That totally happened. But never fear. Made it back, got my souls, and this time I'm like, you know what? Screw the Viking. Screw everything. For goodness sakes, let me open this shortcut. And we have the Employee of the Month, Hollow Soldier with his axe, trying to make a name for himself, getting clubbed down by yours truly. Lighting up another torch. During the run back, and I kind of cut this out, you can shoot any of the enemies hanging off of the docks or on ledges or anything. You can shoot them once and they'll fall down to their death. It's a quick way to get rid of them. Having a quick look around, just kind of eyeballing everything, make sure I'm not missing anything. You'll notice Lucatil's summon sign was not there on the docks like it was last time. That's because I haven't gone back to human form yet, which I'm fixing to do. Ordinarily, I don't really like to summon NPCs for bosses, especially after, I mean, maybe the first time I fight the boss, but, you know, after that, not really. And that's kind of something I wish that Dark Souls 2 didn't do, is making you have to summon an NPC in order to progress their plot. I mean, in Dark Souls 1, you could go through Solaire's entire plot line without ever summoning him, as long as you talk to him in the right places. But anyway, here's an NPC we need to talk to.
I see light, but it remains dim.
What you trying to say, man?
I am Carillion, and I've no interest in the magic impaired.
Yeah, you're just trying to politely call me stupid, basically.
I see light. I am...
What's that saying about, like, the lights are on but no one's home? That's basically what old Carillion is saying to us, because our intelligence is... I don't know what a cleric's base intelligence is, I just know I haven't leveled it up any. What is it, like 1 or something? I don't know. Eventually I want to get it up to 30. Have like a 30 int, 30 faith. So I can do like hexes and pyromancies and stuff, and play around with sorceries and miracles too. So, a new shade, exclusive to the Scholar of the 1st Sin Edition, Bradley of the Old Guard. You can always tell when it's a new NPC summon, because they will make a gesture at you when you summon them. The new summons have a lot more competent AI, thankfully, than the old summons. Which to me, I wish they could have just fixed the old summons AIs a little bit. Like Lucatil, she's such a cool character, but when you summon her, she's just as dumb as a brick. She's like, most of the time she's about as useful as Solaire is in the Ornstein and Smo fight. You know, he's great at taking damage and getting some of the attention off of you, but as far as like intelligently fighting the enemy, no. Like if Lucatil had a catalyst, I'm sure she would two-hand it and like try to hit the enemy with it. Use a little repair powder. In No Man's Wharf, it's good to have a little repair powder as you go through, because it is a large area. You only got the one bonfire, and by the time you get to here, after starting from the beginning of the level, you will need it. See, Bradley immediately notices one of these Vikings that comes up and tries to attack us, and he very competently disposes of them. So in the original Dark Souls 2, I remember there being way more enemies on this boat. There's pretty much just this archer and like one or two other of the little foot soldier guys. And Bradley just straight up buffed his spear with Sunlight Blade. So why not? And then one of these slaver guys that it actually, he wasn't on the ship in the original version, but it makes a lot of sense for him to be here once you know where the ship actually sails to. So that's all the enemies. Just, what was that, 3? I don't know. And with that being done, it's time to take on the boss. It's a interesting boss, so to speak. Lucatiel's being interesting over there, getting stuck on the stairs. See, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, Bradley, he doesn't get stuck on stairs. Lucatiel, why do you? I mean, she's got a pretty face. She's got, like, strength and everything. She can fight, but, man. I bet she can't even see Carillion. She probably has an int of, like, -3. Nah, it's all good, though. I still like her. Getting a couple of items ready. I would have liked to have buffed my weapon with fire, because, I don't know, I feel like this enemy would have probably been more weak to fire, but hey, you know, aromatic ooze just looks cool. Sticky white stuff, as it's called in Demon Souls, strangely enough. So here we are, it's like the Siamese twin of death and destruction. As you can see, he just comboed me really good. Built up some bleed. Of course, he'd probably be a lot easier to take down without 2 summons in here, but I don't know. So I almost died right there. But the Radiant Life Gem is nice. It's still like replenishing my health. It replenishes your health for a while. That's why I always try to save it for boss fights. So, Lucatiel, as I said, she tanks damage pretty well in this fight. She has a pretty good bit of health. Only boss fight in the game I've ever lost her, I think, was the... oh, what's that boss called? The fire thing with the horns. I don't know. You'll end up seeing it in the Let's Play, but yeah. So, I'm just, you know, sitting here rambling on, and before I know it, the boss is dead. We got his soul, Flexile Sentry's soul. And the buff lasted the whole fight. That's kind of cool. Yeah, so far, I like dual wielding clubs and everything. It's definitely viable, but I don't know. I got the other character I've got that actually made to look like me. Hold that thought. That treasure chest used to be back in that corner, and it used to be very easy to miss. And like, you could easily activate this switch up here and completely miss Pyromancy Flame and your first Pyromancy. See, it was right there. You climb up the ladder, see this thing immediately, and examine it. And then it's like you've completely missed the Pyromancy Flame, and you won't be able to get it unless you completely redo the level. What was I saying? Yeah. My other character, which I'll probably showcase at some point in the playthrough. I'm kind of playing the 2 characters side by side in places. It's more of a dex build right now, with a rapier, longsword, falchion, that sort of thing. I think I've got a katana that I use. And I don't know, it's just, that particular build is just a little more fun to use to me. But, again, it's still early on this character, and I do want to, you know, start slinging some spells and everything. I can always respec, so I don't know. I'm thinking I might keep the strength at 40 and get the Crypt Black Sword or whatever it's called, and make that my main later in the playthrough, but I don't know, we'll see. Good thing about Dark Souls 2, which is something I wish they had implemented in Dark Souls 1, is the ability to respec. and to just play around with things. That's one good thing about Dark Souls 2 I'll always commend it for. It encourages you to experiment. You know, it gives you lots of upgrade materials so you can upgrade multiple weapons. It lets you respec stats. And the whole bonfire aesthetic thing is kind of neat too. So anyway, the ship moves, you know, and it docks in this little harbor. We come in here, slay a couple of Vikings that were sleeping on the job. They weren't performing check-in very well, so they got checked out. Yeah, I'm funny. But yeah, this area will start to look familiar in a little bit because we have been here. And I stupidly, you know, activated the switch again, so I'm sending myself back down in the elevator. Good job, Robert. So, gonna speed this part up. As you can see, there's a little cubby hole there that looks like you should be able to get to it with an item. That's not difficult to get to. With my mad dance skills there. Alright, so what I had intended to do, I wanted to send the elevator back down and quickly roll out of it. Then this cage gets lowered back down by the chains. You can hop on top of it, and that's how you get the little item in that room. Which isn't much. It's a scimitar, which is kind of like a slightly weaker version of the falchion, which, if I'm not mistaken, you already have access to at this point in the game. I think that first smith, I can't remember their names. I should. Lennegrass, that's right. Yeah, I think you can buy a falchion from him, and maybe even the scimitar as well, so I don't know. If you wanted a free one, there it is. Dark Souls 2 will give it to you. Kind of like my armor setup that I've got going on. But on a female character, the brigand trousers actually look really nice. Really cool anyway. I like how that looks with the Varangian tunic or whatever it is. I'm not going to end up keeping it that way, but, you know, it looks pretty cool. Hunting around for some illusory walls. Just to show you guys, I left this part in because, you know, just to show you they're not there. I don't think there's any in this old room. There's an item, though, in one of these cages. Or cells, rather. Yeah, there it is. What is that thing? Yeah. Just stuff. Alright. Getting close to ending the video. If you hadn't figured it out yet, we're back at the Lost Bastille. This is the other end of it, from where you first approach after fighting the pursuer. There's a bonfire right here, thankfully. Before traveling back to Majula, let's take a quick look outside. See how everything's looking. Yeah, I think in the distance, that area is where you fight the bell gargoyles, if I'm not mistaken. Are they bell gargoyles? I can't remember. There's some type of gargoyle, and you fight like 3 or 4 of them at a time. It's not a terribly difficult fight, it's just annoying. It's not at all like the gargoyles in Dark Souls 1. But it's got the same music. That counts for something, right? So anyway, back to Majula to spend off these souls. Once again, going to be leveling up some strength.
Bearer of the curse seeks less.
As I'm sitting there debating it in my head. Then after messing around, talking to the different merchants, I'm going to burn some sublime bone dust to strengthen my Estus flask. And that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for watching, as always. Gonna see you soon with some more Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin Edition. Until then, be safe, be well, and y'all take care. I said, y'all take care. Bye.